Hi guys. So I want to talk to you today about the perfect love of God. Because we talked about worry and we talked about throwing our cares onto Jesus. But there is something amazing and powerful about the love of God. And in 1 John 4, it says, God is love. In verse 16, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in him. And then verse 18 says this amazing verse, there is no fear in love. But perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment. So God's perfect love has no fear in it. That verse says his perfect love drives out fear. That word drives is an intense word, like no tolerance for it. It's like the word throw when I said throw your care on Jesus. Well, the love of God has no tolerance for fear, and it says he drives it out of us. So we need more love. Well, how do you get more love from God? You need to stay in his love. It says in what I read to you in verse 16, abide in his love. Well, what if you don't feel God's love, or you don't feel loved, or you get confused if he still loves you? Well, we have to believe he loves us. Here's what it says in verse 16 of 1 John 4, and we have known and believed the love God has for us. So every day you can start your day by just receiving his love. Just a simple prayer like, Jesus, I receive your love. Thank you for loving me. You died for me and you love me. Fear involves torment. That's what it says in verse 18. I looked up that word torment, and it's the same word used in Matthew 25 for eternal punishment or the torment of hell. That's brutal. Look what it says. Fear, and the word isn't involves torment. Fear has torment. Or you could translate it, fear has hell attached to it. That is so terrible. And we know how terrible fear feels. But I want to tell you the good news. Jesus' love, God's perfect love, can get rid of that torment. All you have to do is receive it and stay in it. Receive his love every day. When I was about 12 years old, I was really into cats. And there was a neighborhood cat in the backyard. And I opened the door, I guess, because I was curious to see the cat. And this strange cat ran into our house. Now we had a problem. We had a stray cat in our house. Well, I ran and told my mom and dad, there's a cat in our house. And my dad said, you have to get it out of the house. So I took a stick and I had to be really aggressive to get the cat out of the house. And I drove that thing out of the house because it didn't belong in our house. We didn't own that cat. And so when we grow in love, we grow in receiving God's love, here's what happens. We start to notice foreign things that shouldn't be in us, like fear. That word perfect love can also mean mature. He makes us mature in his love. And then it says in verse 18, he who fears has not been made perfect in love. So I don't want you to be discouraged if you had a moment of fear and you've been doing so good and all of a sudden you just gave in to fear. The cat got in the house. You need to get that love of God in you again and get the cat out. You don't want stray cats in your house. And the cat was hiding under the couch, so I had to drive it out. So God in his goodness, as we receive his love, we start noticing, wait, I'm not supposed to be afraid. That's a good sign. The fact that you know you were afraid means you can say, Lord, I wasn't trusting you. I'm sorry. I was afraid. The problem is when the house is full of all kinds of stray cats and nobody's doing anything about it. So I bless you to receive his perfect love. He loves you. His love for you will never fail. It's stronger than fear. It drives out that enemy of fear. And every day you can start the day by saying, God, show me your love. I want to know your love. Bye. Hi, talking, touching, talking, touching the mic, and talking.